Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is a channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on and talk about some books. It's the beginning of March, the beginning of the spring season, which is my favorite season because it's my birthday season. In saying that, I'm born in November, but in Australia, spring is in November. You get the gist. I claim this season as my birthday season. But anyway, all that's to say is it's the beginning of a new month, so it's time for me to do my reset going into March, getting everything set up for my TBR, taking the old books off the TBR cart, all that fun relaxing stuff, so let's just jump straight in. First up, let's get all the books that I read in February, take them off my TBR cart, stack them up, and I'll give you my one sentence review and my rating and list of DNFs for all the books that I read or at least briefly read in February. Now I've got my little one sentence review page here, so I will just be reading you what I've pre-prepared. So first up, we had Saga Volume 2, which I gave 3 stars. And my one sentence review is, whilst the graphic novel was interesting, offered more backstory, and I loved the reflections from Hazel littered throughout, I realized that sci-fi isn't really a genre I enjoy, so I won't be picking up the rest of this series. Then we had The Ex Next Door by Jo Platt, which I gave 1 star, and my one sentence review is sold as a funny romance all about second chances and near misses, which was a complete lie, because it was just pompous writing, an overdramatic and toxic main character, an abundance of cheating, and a romance that was started and finished in the last 30 pages of the book. Then we had Waking the Witch by Rachel Burge, which I gave 2 stars, and my one sentence review is, whilst the story was intriguing, the plot and characters were underdeveloped, and the Arthurian legend wasn't included as much more than a hook to draw people in, as you could have changed all the characters' names and never known it was based on the legend. Then I read Heartless by Elsie Silver on KU, and I gave this book 5 stars. My one sentence review is a perfectly developed and plotted romance that absolutely mastered the grumpy sunshine romance, had the most adorable father-son relationship, and had a really new take on the third act conflict that I didn't expect to love because of the trope it used, but ended up thinking was really maturely executed. Then we had Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue, which I gave 2.5 stars. And my one sentence review is, whilst I liked the edge to the main characters and the smut was fun at first, it all got repetitive and overbearing after a while, meaning the plot took an absolute back seat for a full third of the story. Then I read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which I gave 5 stars, and my one sentence review for this book is an unexpected fave for this month that dealt with such a sensitive topic so respectfully and masterfully, with characters that made me feel conflicted and a second timeline that mastered the adoption of a younger voice and young love for a main character that I absolutely fell in love with. All of these are fully run-on sentences, I'm fully aware of that. Then we had The Roommate by Rosie Danan, which I gave 3 stars, and my one sentence review is an entertaining and sex-positive romance that inevitably felt predictable in its conflicts, had forgettable main characters, and didn't have me feeling the tension and anxiety that I usually get from romances. Then we had Serpent and Dove, which I gave 4 stars, and my one sentence review for this book is a witch and a witch hunter are forced to marry, setting off a whole chain of angsty hate-to-love romance and plenty of anxiety and tension as the main character struggles to hide who she is, and her very dysfunctional mother tries to sacrifice her daughter in order to take down the entire kingdom. Loved this. Then we had Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which I gave 4.5 stars, and my one sentence review is swoony, sexy, fun, and somewhat fanfic style romance about a woman in STEM who believes her co-lead for her dream NASA project hates her, only to find out he's been holding a candle to her for literally years. The pining is amazing. Then we had The Passenger by Ulrich Alexander Boschwitz, which I gave 4.5 stars, and as for my one sentence review, it is an incredibly moving character-led journey set immediately after to Kristallnacht in Germany that details the devolving mental state of a man forced to escape Germany by hopping on and off trains all over the country for days on end. Then we had Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan, which I gave 2 stars. And my one sentence review is, while the core cast was sweet and the story jumped right into the action from the go, the plot and characters felt very surface level, the writing was on the younger side of YA, a lot of the core elements were underdeveloped, and I found myself counting down the pages until the end. Then we had Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, which I gave 5 stars, and my one sentence review is a fascinating character study based on true events that examines how drastically perceptions of a person can change once you know more than the rumors, with a heartbreaking end that had me on the verge of tears. Then we had The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which I gave 1 star, and my one sentence review is a toxic workplace romance filled with unlikable core characters, forgettable secondary characters, and a romance that I just couldn't root for because it felt borderline abusive. Then we had The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner, which I gave 4 stars, and my one sentence review is, whilst the murder mystery was the main plot, this was a fascinating execution of 3 women connected by history who stepped outside the norms of their time, grew exponentially, and really examined the idea of motherhood and the innocence lost and gained through heartbreak. And lastly, we had A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, which I gave 2 stars, and as for my one sentence review, I said a Hades and Persephone retelling that reminded me of the glory days of Wattpad because whilst addictive, it was underdeveloped, surface level, and somewhat awkwardly written. I also DNF'd quite a number of books this month, which included Fight in Silence by Ali Martinez, Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, The Women of Troy by Pat Barker, and Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. So there were definitely a stream of DNFs, which is kind of unexpected for me because I usually don't give up on a book so quickly. So that is all the books that I read in February, so I'm going to reshelve these back on my shelves and get out all my TBR books for March, as well as all these sort of extra things that I'd like to read if I get time. If you want to find out how I came to select these books for my TBR, then do go and check out my TBR Carnival game. I played the sort of spinning Wheel of Fortune one this time and it definitely did me dirty. So let's get the reshelving and unshelving done and then we'll run through the next set of books. So first up on my TBR, we've got Sabriel by Garth Nix. Then we've got Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Then we've got How Much of These Hills is Gold by C. Pam Zhang. Then we've got A Fatal Crossing by Tom Hindle. Then Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Then we've got Jeremy Clarkson's Diddly Squat Till the Cows Come Home. And finally, Heart of the Sun Warrior, which is the sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I read in February by Su Lin Tan. A few other books that I want to read in March include The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Nine Liars by Maureen Johnson, Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, Beautiful Disaster by Jamie Maguire, and The Deal by Elle Kennedy. That's the books that I want to read in March. Let's get them all onto my TBR cart ready for the month, and lastly do a quick flip through of my reading journal to update you on my sort of full year stats. Okay, so last but not least, we've got the reading journal flip through. So this is my main reading goals page first up. So as for the reading goals I completed this month, I read from 2 diverse authors this month. I didn't manage to finish a series. Instead, I think I started like 3. I didn't really subscribe to my book buying ban. I think I bought like 20 something books. I did get way more than 10 new subscribers this month, so thank you so much, guys. You have already got me so close to my goal for 300 subscribers by the end of the year, so I'm gonna have to up that goal, which is probably the most exciting thing for me so far this year. I did complete 2 game or tag related videos, and I did film more than 2 vlogs for this month, so pretty good month in terms of goals. Next up, we've got my Goodreads goal page. So this is just the track whether or not I'm gonna meet my Goodreads goal of 150 books this year. I don't count DNFs in this, and as you can see, in January I was behind, but I came back swinging and got myself back up to my target of 25 by the end of February, because I read 15 books in February. Then we got my 5-star predictions page. Hasn't changed because I haven't read any more of my 5-star predictions. Then we got my series I want to finish page. Again, haven't changed that, so let's move on. Then we've got the 2 TBRs that I'm trying to track for this year, the 2 major ones. So starting with my 23 must-reads for 2023, I'm now at a few more read. So I read The Passenger, It Ends With Us, and Serpent and Dove this month. So a couple more to add there. Then we've got my 26 before 26 TBR, got a few more added in this one, including, once again, The Passenger and It Ends With Us, and Serpent and Dove, actually. So just the same ones again. Then we've got my own TBR. There's a bit more green on here because I definitely prioritized reading from my owned TBR this month. So that's looking pretty good. And then my TBR tracker, which is kind of shameful this month because I bought 23 books. I read 12 of my TBR. I read 2 KU books and I read 4 script books. I haven't really been updating this, but I do mean to. It should have Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail right here. And then I think my favorite book for this month will be either It Ends With Us or Burial Rites. I haven't really figured which one I want to put there. But as for my next page, my social media tracker, like I said, you guys got me so close to my 300 subscribers by the end of the year goal. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are my favorite people in the world, and I'm so excited by this number right here. And I also posted 11 booktube videos, which was less than the previous month, but that makes sense because less days in February. I was going to track Book Talk, but I've decided to kind of give up on that ambition for now, so just put lots of lines through there. As for my February pages, this is my TBR. There were a few books that I wanted to read this month that weren't officially on my TBR that I didn't get around to doing, and that was Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison or M.K. Borison, something like that. The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie, Not a Happy Family by Shari Lapina, All Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace, I think, and Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. Then I've got my pages read for the month, which was 5,868, which is absolutely insane, considering in January, which is a longer month, I read 4,735 pages. So that's over 1,000 more pages, which, wow, that's a lot. Then we've got all my books read, including my very many DNFs throughout the month. Almost got up to the 20, but not quite. Then all the books I read. So Saga, The Ex Next Door, Waking the Witch, Heartless, Her Soul to Take, It Ends With Us, The Roommate, Serpent and Dove, Love on the Brain, The Passenger, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, Burial Rites, The Hating Game, The Lost Apothecary, and right here will be A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett Sinclair, which I haven't printed off yet. Going into my March pages, we've got all the books that I've already run you through that I am planning or hoping to read this month, including like the 7 books that are actually on my TBR right at the very top of that list. The theme for this month is International Women's Day because that is a day, obviously, that's occurring in March, and I love that day, so I had to theme a month after it. Then my very empty pages read and books read pages because I haven't actually made any dents here. And then finally, space for all my reviews. So that is officially my book journal update for the month. So that is the end of my March reset. I hope you enjoyed this video. I like to think it's super chill and easy and fun. So let me know if there are other elements that you want to see in these resets in the future. But if not, come and chat to me in the comments down below about the books that you're planning to read in March, or just what you're reading at the moment, loving it, hating it, all those sorts of things. Come and chat to me in the comments. I love talking to you guys, and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell all down below. It is a super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video. Bye!